Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Welcome back again to another aspect of geography, very important aspect of geography called map reading. Map reading or map interpretation. It's a very important aspect of geography. In fact, without this, your knowledge of geography is not complete. As a geographer, you must know how to interpret map, you must know how to make map, and also how to analyze map when it is given to you. So map reading or map interpretation, as we said, is an aspect of geography that is very crucial and very important to any student who want to study geography very well. Now let's look at what is map reading. Map reading can be defined as the science or an act of interpreting map, an act of interpreting a map. And a map, there are different types. We have the thematic map, We have thematic map. Number 2, we have cartographic, or topographic map, any way you want to call it. Then number 3, we have political map. So when we are talking about thematics, we are talking about a map that contains pictures. A map that contains pictures. And when we are talking about cartography or topographic map, we are talking about a map that contains features. The interest of geographer is not on thematics, neither on political, although they are very important in their own way. But our interest is on cartographic map. Now let me show you an example of what we call cartographic map. This is a map called, the type of map we call a cartographic map. Now this map, you can look at it that a novice cannot depict any information from here except you are an expert in map reading. If not, there are many features here, there are mountains here, there are rivers here, there are settlements here, there are many things that we can interpret from here. Then this map, cartographic map, we can enlarge it, we can reduce it, we can do anything with this map. We can bring a lot of information from this map, but you can only do that if you understand your map reading very well. Now, having known what map reading is, then the types of map, and our interest is on cartographic map, and I've shown to us the example of cartographic or topographic map. Now, what are we going to do? Let's look at what cartographic map is all about. Cartography or topographic map. For you to learn or to understand, study this cartographic map, the first thing you must know is the scale of the map. The scale of the map. Now, scale can be defined as the distance between 2 points on the map and the corresponding distance of that point if they were to be on the ground. For instance, this is a map, cartographic map. Then here is a point, and here is a point, and you were asked to calculate the distance between this point and this point, point A and point B. If you calculate your distance, it is by the help of the scale that will tell you if these 2 points were to be on the ground, because this is the point here on the paper. The distance cannot be the same as that of the ground, but by the help of scale it will tell you that between point A and point B you can find the corresponding distance on the ground by the help of the scale. So that is why for you to study cartographic map or topo map, you must have adequate information about the scale. Then, having known what scale is, let's look at types of scale. Types of scale. Types of what? Scale. Now, number 1, we have linear scale. Linear scale. Number 2, we have RF scale. RF means representative fraction scale. Then number 3, we have statement scale. Statement scale. What is linear scale? Without much, noise. If you look at this, my map, here you have some line under this map. This type of line is what we call the linear scale. They are scales that are calibrated in line and they are placed under the map. The use of it is that when you take your measurement from here, you bring it to this linear scale and do the measurement. So, at times some candidates, some students, they'll go to exam hall without their ruler. So this linear scale will help them. After taking any measurement from here, and you may not have your ruler, you can bring it down and get your measurement and do your calculation to give you the actual distance between 2 points that you are measuring if that 2 points were to be on ground. So that type of scale, we call it the linear scale. Now the RF scale. The RF scale, or representative fraction, is a type of scale that has 1 as denominator, while any number can be denominator. It can be 1/50, 1/10, 1/25. This is what we call representative fraction or RF scale. 1, denominator is always 1. Then the denominator can be any number, but not 1. That is what we mean by RF. Then we have statement scale. Statement scale, as the name implies, is a scale that is stated in a statement form. A scale that is stated in a statement form. Example, if I said 1 centimeter represents 1 kilometer. This is a statement. I've just made a statement. So this type of scale is what we call the statement form. So these are the types of scale that we have if we want to understand the study of map very well. Now we'll go ahead to see how can we use this scale. How can we convert a scale, RF scale, to statement scale to linear scale, and so on and so forth. We can do that. But before we do that, let's look at how this scale can help us in map reading. For instance, there is a certain fact I want us to get it at the back of our mind before we continue. The higher the map, the higher the scale. The higher the scale, the higher the scale of the map. The higher the scale of the map, then the smaller the map. The higher the scale of the map, then the smaller the map. Vice versa, the lower or the smaller the scale of the map, the larger the map. If you have this fact at the back of your mind, because by the time we proceed, we are going to look at a situation where you are given a map like this, and you are asked to extract this map to a certain scale. What are you going to do? Until you know that whenever a map has a very large scale, that it will tell you that that map is small. And also, if a map has a small scale under, then it tells us that that map is what? Is big. So we are going to continue this in detail in our SS2 map work. But as far as SS1 is concerned, we are to know what is map, we are to know the types of map, and we are to know what are the basic information that we needed to know about maps. But when we get to proper map interpretation in SS2, we are going to look at the conversion of ROF to statement, statement to ROF. Then how to look at the size of the scale. We talk about the sizes of the scale. I've told us already that the higher the scale of the map, the higher the size of the scale, the smaller the map. While the lower or the smaller the size of the scale, the higher the map. For instance, if I have this map here and the scale is 1:50,000, and I ask you to give me a map of a scale 1:100,000, is to tell us that how many 50,000 are there in 100,000? We have 2. 50,000 is smaller than what? Is smaller than 100,000. From this fact that the higher the scale of the map, the smaller, that shows that you are going to produce 2 of this to a scale of 100,000. That is, you are going to divide this into 2 and produce half of it, and the scale will be 1:100,000. So, but have this fact at the back of your mind that the higher the scale of the map, the smaller the map, and the smaller the scale of the map, the larger the map. Let's have this basic fact. Then by the time we go into the conversion of the scale proper, how to use the scale to enlarge, and also how to know the size of the scale and some measurements on the map, you are going to, this fact will help you. So that is what we ought to know as far as map reading and map interpretation is concerned in this level.